Being a good neighbor doesn't have to be complicated. Being a good neighbor has never depended on what others do, or what they don't do for that matter, return the favor. But I'll do it because So it took me a little bit because I wasn't even sure that I wanted to make this video. It did happen a few weeks ago, and although it's passed, I found myself still thinking about it, so that's why I decided that I'm going to share this story. Now, when it comes to being a good neighbor, even when no one's watching, I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm no authority on what a good neighbor is. I just know what I appreciate and what I was raised to think a good neighbor should be doing, and what I want my kids to do one day. With that being said, I thought I would share a personal experience with you. So, a few weeks ago, we had a pretty heavy snowfall here in Edmonton. I think it was just over 30 centimeters, and if you're looking for a conversion, it works out to be about a foot of snow. I went to shovel my driveways, and as I walked towards the sidewalk, I noticed something. Both my neighbors on each side, they stopped shoveling right at the property line. Now, it would have been easy to do the same, but for me, being a good neighbor has never depended on what others do, or what they don't do for that matter. I finished cleaning the sidewalk in front of my home, and honestly, the next time that there's a ton of snow like that, or since we're close to summer now, if the grass is too tall, I'll probably deal with that too, just like I always do. Not for the recognition, and not because I expect them to return the favor, but I'll do it because I believe it's the right thing to do. And being a good neighbor doesn't have to be complicated. It's honestly found in the small things like taking a few extra minutes to mow a part of your neighbor's lawn, or picking up windblown trash that's over the front of the street. It's about showing up consistently with kindness, and especially when no one is clapping for you. So here are a few ways that you can be a good neighbor, even if no one notices, and even if they never return the gesture. So the first thing is going the extra mile, even when no one else does. Sometimes being a good neighbor means doing more than what's expected. And when I saw the snow that stopped at my property line, I had a decision to make. I'm pretty sure no one would have blamed me for only doing my part, just shoveling my own driveway. But instead, in my head, I thought, just keep going. And I did. I didn't take much effort, not much extra time, but it reminded me that real kindness, it doesn't wait for an invitation. It just shows up. It's easy to let pride or frustration stop us from doing something that we think is good, especially when others don't seem to notice or care. But we weren't called to copy the world. We were called to lead with love, just like Jesus did. So my tips are to try this. 1, don't measure your kindness by what others are doing. Just go beyond anyways. You'll feel so much better for it. Look for little ways to serve that take minimal effort, but show big care. And then ask yourself, what would I want someone to do for me? Then just do that. Really simple. The next thing would be to choose kindness without expecting anything in return. So let's be honest. Sometimes we want our kindness to come full circle, and a thank you would feel really good. A returned favor, maybe some sort of acknowledgement. But the most powerful kind of love is the one that just keeps giving even when nothing has been given back. Anytime I shovel that extra bit of snow or mow the grass near the sidewalk, I'm not doing it to build credit with my neighbors. I'm actually doing it because I've experienced that kind of love that really gives freely. You know, Jesus gave his life for us, even before we knew to love him back. And honestly, that's the model. So whether it's noticed or not, I want my actions to reflect that same spirit of grace as much as I can when I remain. So practice this. Offer help or a kind gesture just because. It doesn't need a reason. Try to let go of that need to be thanked, because even though your neighbor or someone down the street may not see it, you know who does. And lastly, shift your mindset from what will I get out of this to how can I be a blessing to someone else? And the last tip is to be consistent, even if it's unnoticed. Anyone can be kind once, but being consistent is what really sets someone apart. Now, it's not glamorous, it's not always rewarding in the short term, but showing up again and again with a generous spirit, that builds something so much deeper. It builds trust, it builds peace, it builds a quiet influence on your neighbors and your friends nearby. Whether or not my neighbors say anything, I want to show them that they can count on me to be there and to be consistent. Not perfect, but steady. That consistency over time, it builds connection and it creates an atmosphere where kindness, it can start to thrive, even if that kindness is just with one person. So how do we build that consistency? You do it by building simple habits of kindness. We're talking about small, repeatable actions. This can be something as easy like cutting the grass or picking up the trash, watering the lawn. You need to be reminding yourself that quiet faithfulness can make a loud impact. And you can trust that, and you need to trust that even unnoticed action plants seeds that grow over time. Jesus calls us to love others without condition, not just the ones who love us back. When we serve quietly, expecting nothing in return, our actions become a reflection of something greater than ourselves. They become a testimony. So next time you have the chance to do something small for someone else, take it. Not because they deserve it, but because you're choosing to live generously. And that kind of living, it stands out in the best way.